Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
What's up, everybody? The latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Making Mom feel extra special with 1-800-Flowers is the perfect Mother's Day gift. Right now, you can get the beautiful mom bouquet with double the flowers for free. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks. No contracts, lots of stuff to get into today. Boy, what an exciting day of NBA action to get into. And I'm going to start off the show with a question. And usually I don't do that. Matter of fact, the only time I think there's justification for starting off anything with a question, that's whether you're writing an article with a lead, or whether you're talking with a show or on a talk show. Have you seen Jesus? If that ain't the question, damn it, there's no reason to start a show with a question. That's about it. But I'm going to make an exception today because I got something on my mind. And whether you're New York or you're LA, I'm going to ask you the question. The greatness that you're seeing from Kevin Durant in this postseason. The greatness that you're seeing from Kyrie Irving in these playoffs. The notion, the scuttlebutt of the potential of them teaming up and joining forces to go to a different franchise, to depart from Golden State if you're Kevin Durant, to depart from Boston if you're Kyrie Irving, to go someplace like to New York, or to go someplace like the Los Angeles Clippers or the Los Angeles Lakers. Really, it's the Los Angeles Clippers if it's the both of them, because the Lakers only have cap space for one. Do you think those two together are a compatible pair to propel you to championship glory? Because I got news for you. As individual talents, what we're seeing here is nothing to do anything other than marvel at. And I'm going to get to the greatness of Kevin Durant first because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you something right now. Look, LeBron is LeBron, but he's home for the playoffs, watching them with you and I. After 13 consecutive years in the postseason, 3 championships, 4 league MVPs, 8 consecutive trips to the NBA Finals, LeBron is home. Now, we don't disrespect greatness, not to that level, by failing to acknowledge that greatness and understanding that if he were in these playoffs, it's not like he would be averaging 10 points a game and being a scrub. He's LeBron James. And we have to appreciate that, respect it, and understand that he deserves that level of praise. But I don't think it's an insult. I don't think it's beyond the realm of comprehension. I don't think it's something that can summarily be ignored any longer. I think it is time to start asking the question, is Kevin Durant the best player in the world? In the world. Fouled out after 23 points in game 1. I'm sorry, got ejected after 23 points in game 1 against the Los Angeles Clippers. Fouled out after a 21-point effort in game 2. Ever since that time, this brother, Kevin Durant, is averaging 40. 5 straight 30-plus point-plus games. 45, 50, 38 in the first half, another 35, 38. I mean, this brother is just on another level. And when you take into account, he's 6'11", 7'6" wingspan. He's got a three-point shot. He's got a mid-range game. He can shoot off the dribble. He can shoot a set shot. He can shoot going to his right. He can shoot going to his left. He can shoot through elevation. He can fall away. He can hit free throws. He can play with his back to the basket. Is there anything that this man can't do with a basketball? I mean, this is almost at the point where the only thing you can say about Kevin Durant is he probably can't bench press 250 to 300 pounds. That's about it. There's nothing else you can say about him. There's nothing else you can say about him. All you can do is look at him and go like this. He's just unstoppable. He's just that great. He's that great. And that is the reason why I've had to go to State Warriors winning this series. I don't give a damn what Houston does. Because he's that great. There's no answer for him. You're his height or taller, he'll go around you. You're shorter, he'll shoot over you. You're bigger, you're probably slower. You're smaller, you're too damn short. What are you going to do, foul him? He shoots damn near 90% from the free throw line. What are you going to do? There's no answer for this man. None. None. And on top of it all, we didn't even bring up his defensive prowess. I mean, I'm sitting there first take this morning, and I'm just sitting there telling Max, my man Max Kellerman, and Ryan Clark, and Molly, and all these, and I'm just going like this. You know what? Steph Curry explodes. We know that, I brought up the movie The Gladiator with Russell Crowe. One of, if not the greatest movie I ever saw. And I'm watching him, and I'm going like this. You know something? He's sitting up in there, and Steph Curry, like that man told Russell Crowe, win the crowd. And you'll win your freedom. I wasn't considered the best because I was the greatest gladiator. I knew how to win the crowd. Steph Curry consistently has, does, and always will win the crowd in Golden State. Kevin Durant, you just take for granted. Career 27 point per game scorer. Career 49% shooter from the field. Career 38% shooter from three-point range. This dude can do it all. And right now we can look at Kawhi Leonard and we see what we're seeing from him. And it's special. I got news for y'all. As great as Kawhi Leonard is, and he is great. Make no mistake about it. I understand why Masai Ujiri took his chance. Because we saw DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge and those boys in San Antonio go down in the first round, Game 7 against Denver on Saturday night. And by the way, just as an aside, let me say this about LaMarcus Aldridge. Major respect for his talent, class guy, came out in post-game, fessed up, acknowledged he made a mistake. All true, but it's still inexcusable. LaMarcus Aldridge has been in the league entirely too long to not know to foul immediately. You're down 4 points. It's less than 24 seconds left. What the hell you mean you didn't hear Greg Popovich telling you to go foul a guy? Why did you need to? What you doing standing out there taking sightseeing lessons for? There's less than 24 seconds left in the game. You're down 4. They got the ball. Who the hell doesn't know to foul? It's Game 7 of a playoff. How could LaMarcus Aldridge make that mistake? You got to know better than that, bro. Mad respect for your skills. Mad respect for your skills. And classy as well. And in credit to him for fessing up and acknowledging that he made a mistake in a post-game news conference, albeit he expressed himself very matter-of-factly and nonchalantly. But nevertheless, here's my thing. How do you make that mistake? You're LaMarcus freaking Aldridge. You played for years in Portland. You've been in the league for over 12 years. How do you not know in a Game 7, down 4, with less than 24 seconds left, to foul immediately? How do you not know that? So what, you didn't hear Greg Popovich? You knew the clock was winding down. You knew you were down 4. You ain't JR. But I digress. I only say that point to say this. As I sit here and get back to Golden State and what we're seeing from Kevin Durant. Look, Steph Curry's been in foul trouble. We know that when Steph Curry explodes, it affects the Golden State Warriors like nothing else. We recognize that. We understand that Steph Curry is the star, but we have never confused Steph Curry's starter with the Golden State Warriors as him being the best player on the squad since Kevin Durant has gotten there. Kevin Durant is on another level. And then we get to this issue involving the fouls because James Harden obviously launched the three and didn't get called for it in his favor near the end of the game. And after the game, James Harden had some words for the official. I don't know if we have that sound when he's talking about how the game is being officiated, but if we have that, let me know. James Harden, 9 of 28 from the field. That's 32% shooting, 4 of 16 from three-point range. That's 25% shooting. Hit 13 of his 14 free throws. Finished the game with 35 points, but it was a somewhat unimpressive 35-point performance on a part of James Harden. And obviously he didn't get a call at the end of the game, so that affected him as well. Listen to what James Harden had to say in the aftermath of the 104-100 Game 1 loss to the Golden State Warriors.
What can I do about it? I was told the same thing at half, and there's probably a couple more in that second half. I just want a fair chance, man. Call the game how it's supposed to be called, and that's it. And I'll live with the results. But especially we all know what happened, a few years back with Kawhi. Like, that can change the entire series. Just call the game how it's supposed to be called, and we'll live with the results. And it's plain and simple.
In that last part, when James Harden brought up Kawhi Leonard, I want to state for the record, I agree with him. First of all, a couple of things. James Harden is my league MVP. He's my league MVP. He should win it for a second year in a row. He was phenomenal this year. Averaging 36, doing the things that he's done on the basketball court. James Harden has been absolutely phenomenal, nothing short of it. And he deserves the league MVP honors. With that being said, here's the important point that I want every single person on earth to consider. When James Harden brought up Kawhi Leonard and how he was low-bridged by Zaza Pachulia a couple of years back, when Zaza was in San Antonio and they were going up against the Golden State Warriors, and it was game 1 against the Golden State Warriors, and San Antonio was up 23. Zaza low-bridged Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard came down, messed up his ankle really bad, so much so that Greg Popovich went ballistic. Absolutely, positively ballistic over it. Okay? But San Antonio never had the chance, and they ended up getting swept in that series. That's how big of a loss Kawhi Leonard was. You're James Harden. At least 4 times in the first 3 quarters, the officials missed James Harden being low-bridged. I'm not accusing anybody of Golden State of doing something malicious like Greg Popovich essentially had accused Zaza Pachulia of doing that time a couple of years back. That's not what I saw from the Golden State Warriors. They were defending aggressively. They were contesting shots. All of those things were true. But nevertheless, having said all of that, it is undeniable that James Harden, people were not necessarily giving him a place to land. That wasn't the case with the last play of the game. I thought he had place to land. Draymond Green made a very accurate point. Trying to draw a foul on the 3-point shot, James Harden leaped 3 feet in front of where he took off for the jump shot, plus kicked his legs out. Draymond Green absolutely positively gave him a place to land. James Harden didn't take it because he was trying to draw the foul, and the referees accurately, in my estimation, didn't fall for that okie doke. But there were times in the first half, I counted 3 times in the first half, they missed. When people defending James Harden did do that. They did deny him a place to land. And those were fouls that should have been called in his favor. And so if you're James Harden, one of the prolific scorer in the game of basketball today, and that stuff has been happening for you throughout the game, you're going to be a bit hesitant. And it's going to affect your shot if you're worried about where you come down to land. And I don't think that can be ignored. I think James Harden makes a very valid point. Not about the last play, but about the overall officiating of this particular game. I do think it's important that he pointed that out. Now, what you don't want to do if you're the Houston Rockets is make too much of it, because the Golden State Warriors have a history of doing a lot of complaining to the officiating, and that includes Coach Steve Kerr, as Brian Windhorst pointing out in his column on ESPN.com about a week ago, which was an exceptional column. Kevin Durant's got about 17 technicals on the year. Draymond ain't far behind. We know Steve Kerr gets his share. We've even seen the babyface assassin, one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet, in Steph Curry, pointing in the face of an official after drilling a big-time shot against Minnesota near the end of the regular season, pointing in the face of an official because they felt that they got screwed over by the official on previous calls. The level of behavior, the cantankerousness, and other things that you want to point to about the Golden State Warriors have been very well documented. If you're the Houston Rockets, don't say much. Let Golden State be the bad guys. That might actually help you with these human beings wearing zebra shirts known as the officials. Because complaining and chirping to the degree that officials already feel Golden State does it, doesn't seem like something that would bode well for you. And I think that's incredibly important to point out when we're looking at the Houston Rockets and how they move forward from here. In terms of whether we should be encouraged or not, I'm very encouraged by what I saw from the Houston Rockets. I've got them losing this series. I've got them losing this series. I've got them losing this series to the Golden State Warriors in 7 games. I really do. But I will tell you this. I love the fact that it's going 7 games. I believe in the Houston Rockets. These brothers can play. I got mad respect for them. I just think that Golden State is the creme de la creme. And I think because of their ability to shoot the basketball, the way that they shoot it, I think that's a very, very, very big deal. And I am just of the mindset that when I look at the Golden State Warriors, I don't think anybody can beat them. I got to see it to believe it. And I don't think Houston is going to be the team that beats them this year. I like what Houston is doing. I'm worried about the loss of Boogie Cousins. I've seen all of these different things, but I got to tell you something. Kevin Durant being all world, if this continues, I don't know how you beat Golden State. Kevin Durant, you just sit up there and you're like, you know what? Steph Curry, bang! My man Mike Breen. You got Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy doing what they do, calling games as brilliantly as they call games. And even you see them. Steph Curry's fantastic. Klay Thompson, he's hot. Look at this, look at this, look at that. Kevin Durant, 38 points. We take it for granted because he's that great. Kevin Durant dropped 35 yesterday. And the loudest roar of the crowd was when Steph Curry closed the deal, drilling that 3 over Nene. That's what happens. That's what we're talking about here. It cannot be ignored. There's something special. Kawhi Leonard is something special too. And we'll get into that as the show progresses today, because I'm starting to sit back here and wonder whether or not Philadelphia is going to get swept. I'm worried. I'm actually worried. I'm not going to predict the sweep because I got too much respect for those Rough Riders. But they ain't as good as Toronto, especially with Joel Embiid hobbled. They're just not. To move beyond that, let me say this about Boston yesterday. That's the Boston Celtics team that I predicted was going to the NBA Finals at the beginning of this season. That's the team I've been looking for. That's the team that I've been waiting for. Kyrie putting on the show. Al Horford, spreading the floor, keeping people honest because of his ability to hit perimeter shots. Jason Tatum didn't even have a good game. Jaylen Brown made a couple of great plays. Hit a 3, dunked on Giannis. Horford, big time block against Giannis. I expect Giannis to come out like a monster in game 2. And here's the interesting part about the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks could get to the finals, or they could get swept by Boston. That's how precarious their circumstances are. Boy, do they miss Brogdon. Because Eric Bledsoe, let's give props to Rich Paul for Clutch Sports, known as LeBron James' agent primarily, although he has other exceptional clients, the Ben Simmons, the John Walls of the world. Obviously, just acquired Draymond Green a few months ago. Has Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, a few others, and Eric Bledsoe. Listen, some people thought that it wasn't the greatest deal in the world that he did for Eric Bledsoe with Milwaukee. He said, this kid's got his whole future ahead of him. You never know. What if he has a bad series? What will we be saying about him? All of those things people were asking about. Well, guess what? You got the man at $70 million. And after the way Bledsoe looked yesterday, we're wondering if he deserved half that much. Now, I don't think that will last because I believe in Bledsoe. He can ball. But yesterday was not an impressive showing. He can't guard Kyrie. And he's not the guy that you can rely upon to hit those kind of perimeter shots that you need. So it's one of those situations where you want to look at Bledsoe and you just found yourself wishing that you had Brogdon. Because Brogdon is a special kind of player and may be their best decision maker. Plus, he can hit perimeter shots. So these are all the things that everybody's talking about right now. This is what we have to look at. This is what we have to see. And you have to take it for what it's worth. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. What did you notice from these playoffs? Who's the best player in these playoffs in your estimation? Does Kyrie and Kevin Durant, does that combo, that duo, manufacture itself to something that's worthy of title contention in your mind? Is that the ideal tandem to be with? Or should both of them stay where the hell they are? Because you got a couple of scenarios. Should Kyrie and Kevin Durant join one another in New York or with the LA Clippers? Should Kyrie go to the Lakers to join LeBron and Kevin Durant go to the Clippers and get Kawhi to come with him? Or should both of them stay put in Golden State and Boston respectively? All legitimate questions as we talk some NBA playoff basketball. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. By the way, I'll get into some NFL stuff and some NFL draft stuff as the show progresses. Plus, Mel Kiper Jr. is coming on a little bit later on in the show, so don't touch that dial. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. The NBA playoffs are on ESPN Radio. Tune in tonight for Game 2 as Kawhi and the Raptors host the Philadelphia 76ers. Presented by Indeed. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. Also, when you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes, do you? You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screening questions based on your job requirements, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed. This show and all of ESPN is streaming live on the ESPN.